Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are strapping on our virtual hard hats, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
We're tackling a pretty massive challenge for modern businesses. Enterprise application development, but using visual tools. We're diving deep into SAP Build, that's the low-code, no-code platform, or LCNC.
Oh, it's absolutely critical right now. LCNC, it's really about the democratization of development. It lets people, power users who aren't professional coders, build real functional applications.
Just by dragging and dropping stuff visually.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But, when you give business users that much power, the really crucial topic, it immediately becomes things like system integration, process management, and maybe, most importantly, governance.
Right, that's the high-stakes balancing act we're trying to unpack today. And our mission really is to give you a shortcut to mastering this stuff.
Yeah.
Our source material is actually pretty focused this time. We're pulling the core, like the non-negotiable knowledge points directly from concepts needed for the SAP Build certification.
Exactly. And think about it. When a company requires certification for a platform, those exam topics, they basically represent the foundational truths, how the system must be managed, how it needs to be secured.
So we're not just reading flashcards here.
No. We're extracting the strategic imperatives,
Right.
things about IT control, security boundaries, and how you actually enable these citizen developers safely.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start with the environment itself, where all these apps live, the control center for governance, SAP Build Work Zone. This is where IT sets up a secure, unified home for everyone.
Right.
So the first challenge is, how does IT keep control over content that might be coming from, dozens of different systems?
Well, the component that handles that aggregation and the control is the content manager. And this is fundamentally an IT function. They define what resources are available.
Okay, but why is it so crucial that IT defines this central catalog? Why can't, say, the marketing department just link their own apps?
Because the content manager, it's really the gatekeeper against what we used to call shadow IT. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Stuff popping up everywhere.
Exactly. Its purpose is to pull together and manage not just the apps and UI cards you build in the LCNC platform, but also content federated from your core back-end systems.
Like S/4HANA or SuccessFactors data.
Precisely. Think S/4HANA for finance data, SuccessFactors for HR info. If IT doesn't control the content manager, you risk, inconsistent user experiences, fractured security.
And people connecting to old or unstable APIs by mistake.
Absolutely. Business units might accidentally connect to something deprecated. So the content manager ensures a consistent, secure, audit-ready workspace. It's the single source of truth for approved content.
Got it. IT maintains the structure, permissions, consistency, and the end user just gets pre-vetted tools.
That's it. And that consistency is paramount, especially in big organizations.
But, okay, a technically perfect workspace is kind of useless if it doesn't actually help people do their jobs, right?
Sure.
So that brings us to the roles needed for designing and managing this workspace. You mentioned collaboration, balancing technical standards with business value. Who are the key players?
Right. So you really need two essential partners here. They're the workspace administrator and the business owner, who often also acts as the content contributor.
Okay, let's break that down. The administrator sounds like the tech guru.
Correct. The workspace administrator, they handle the technical setup, security model, permissions, the overall look and feel, making sure that federation from the back-end systems is actually working. They're the technical guardian, if you will.
Okay. But if the administrator handles all the tech rules, how does the business owner contribute without, accidentally poking a hole in security?
Well, that's where the power of that content manager comes back into play. The business owner provides the absolutely critical context.
They know what their team actually needs.
Exactly. They know what reports, what processes, what applications their specific team really needs day to day. They ensure the workspace aligns with user workflows, and they add relevant applications from that pre-approved catalog maintained by the content manager.
So they're choosing from the safe list.
Precisely. It means the workspace is both secure and actually useful. If you miss that business owner role, you just build a white elephant. Nobody uses it.
That distinction is really key. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. From managing the workspace to the actual building of apps, SAP Build apps. This is where the low-code magic happens, letting people design these slick UIs.
And let's start with user experience. One thing that makes apps feel polished is responsiveness, right?
Yeah.
Like a button-changing appearance when you hover over it. Visual feedback.
Yeah, definitely.
How do LCNC developers get that dynamic look without writing a bunch of custom code?
They use the style editor, is that right?
That's it. The style editor lets you define dynamic changes, color, borders, fonts, whatever, for specific user interaction states, like hover, focus, or click.
So it completely separates the look from the underlying logic.
Exactly. You're configuring behavior, not coding it. The whole idea is to define these rules visually, make the app feel modern, intuitive, without needing a CSS expert on hand.
Makes sense. Okay, speaking of logic, once you've nailed the look and feel, you have to nail the flow. Inside the logic canvas, that visual blueprint for the app's brain actions have to happen in a specific order.
Oh, absolutely critical.
What dictates that exact sequence, the sort of wiring diagram for the app?
Those lines or arrows linking the different nodes and functions together, they're called connectors, or sometimes flows.
And what happens if you wire them up wrong? If those connectors are sequenced incorrectly?
Huh. Catastrophe. I mean, seriously, if you connect the show alert node before the fetch data node,
Your user gets an alert saying data loaded before anything's happened.
exactly, data loaded successfully, but the data hasn't even been requested yet. So the connector is fundamental. It forces the developer to visualize and enforce that time-based sequence of operations.
Understood. Okay, now let's hit a really crucial security topic for app development. When our nice new LCNC app needs to connect to critical external services, maybe fetching inventory details via an OData service defined back in the SAP BTP cockpit, how does it manage that securely?
Right, and this is where we touch on some enterprise jargon, so let's clarify quickly. SAP BTP, it's the business technology platform, basically SAP's cloud control plane.
Okay.
And OData is just the standardized way apps request and query data. So the app itself uses something called data resources to manage this external communication.
So the data resource is like an essential abstraction layer, a middleman.
Absolutely. The data resource handles the formal connection, it manages the authentication tokens, runs the query logic. And this is essential because it stops the low-code app from having to embed, raw, sensitive API calls or security credentials directly into the UI components.
Where they could potentially be exposed.
Exactly. It's a secure, managed conduit,
Right.
keeps the front end clean and the back end secure.
That architecture managing the security boundary with dedicated data resources sounds foundational for LCNC success. Okay, let's move to section 3, process automation. Now, not all automation is the same, right? We need to understand the characteristics of the workhorse of enterprise processes, unattended automation.
Right. If the LCNC app is the friendly visual interface people see, unattended automation is like your digital employee running silently behind the scenes.
Okay.
Its key characteristic, it runs entirely autonomously on a server or a virtual machine without any human intervention once it's triggered.
So it's not like popping up on somebody's desktop asking them to click OK.
Exactly right. It operates completely in the background.
Hmm.
That makes it ideal for high volume, frankly boring, repetitive tasks,
Yeah.
stuff that needs to run outside standard business hours.
Like nightly data loads or...
Yeah, nightly data synchronization between systems, large-scale financial reconciliation, processing thousands of invoices at once. It frees up your human employees for work that needs, judgment, cognitive stuff.
That efficiency gain is pretty clear. Now imagine a big multinational company. Standardizing processes is great, but there's always some regional quirk, right?
Always.
Like a global expense report template.
Mhm.
How does SAP Build handle customizing that global process for, say, the German subsidiary without messing up the standard template everyone else uses?
The solution there is creating a process variant. You take the standard template, the live process content, and you create a variant from it.
And the benefit is flexibility.
Agility, really. You can customize specific steps, maybe add a regional approval threshold, change decision rules,
Oh.
like maybe add an extra tax review step, only for the German team's reports.
Without ever touching the original global standard.
Exactly, without touching or breaking it. So the global template remains the gold standard, but the local team gets the flexibility they desperately need.
It sounds like controlled divergence.
That's a perfect way to put it, controlled divergence. It ensures compliance while maintaining that global integrity.
Okay, finally for this section, how do these processes actually get started? We know a user can fill out a form manually, but in a properly integrated enterprise, what are, say, 2 critical automated ways to kick off a process?
Right. These methods shift automation from being just reactive to being proactive. The first is an API call from another application.
So one system basically tells the process, go time.
Exactly. Programmatically. The trigger condition's been met. Start now. So if a sales order gets finalized in your CRM,
The CRM can tap the automation process on the shoulder and say, start the fulfillment.
precisely. The second major method is a scheduled event. This is purely time-based. You set the automation to run, I don't know, every Monday morning at 8 a.m. or maybe every day at midnight, essential for routine, time-sensitive tasks that don't depend on immediate human action.
Reactive, proactive, and autonomous. Got it. That covers the tech development side. Now, let's pivot back to the foundation of all this governance and the really crucial role of the IT Center of Excellence, the COE.
Mm-hmm.
Citizen developers are building amazing tools, but they definitely introduce risk, especially when they start connecting those tools to the company's crown jewels, the core SAP systems.
Yeah, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you encourage all that great innovation without compromising the integrity of systems handling, potentially billions in transactions?
So, from a governance standpoint, what's the most effective strategic way for the COE to let citizen developers integrate safely? You can't just tell them no, right?
No, you can't. The most effective strategy is controlled connectivity, essentially, through a curated catalog. The COE needs to provide a curated set of approved APIs and BTP services. And these is the only integration options available to those citizen developers.
Okay, so instead of locking down the development tool itself, they lock down the endpoints the tool can talk to.
That's the strategic why, exactly. By pre-approving, testing, hardening the select catalog of services. The IT COE maintains security standards, manages performance impact, ensures authorization compliance, all that good stuff.
And the citizen developers can still innovate, but within a safe sandbox.
Precisely. They're free to innovate within that secure, defined sandbox. They literally cannot accidentally introduce an unstable or unauthorized link to a critical financial table, for example. It's security by curation, not obstruction.
Security by curation. I like that phrase. Okay, so once that secure foundation is there, providing the tools and the safe APIs is only half the battle, right? How does the COE make sure the citizen developer community stays effective, that their skills stay sharp, and the innovation culture actually grows?
Yeah, it's all about sustained support and visibility. The recommended best practice really involves providing continuous training, setting up mentorship programs, maybe pairing pro coders with citizen developers, and hosting showcase events.
Like those appy-thons you hear about.
Exactly. Appy-thons, internal showcases. They transform the whole process. They build the necessary skills. They make sure best practices for quality and security get shared quickly. And maybe most importantly, they build confidence. This kind of proactive, hands-on support is what guarantees the quality and, frankly, the longevity of LCNC solutions across the enterprise.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into SAP Build LCNC.
Yeah, I hope you found these insights valuable. Goodbye for now.